Hello, it's Ken here from Smart Forex Education. In today's session, I'm going to talk about the concept of trend trading and how you can identify where the price is moving in a trend and to trade accordingly. Now, I receive a lot of questions from generally confused traders that have little or no experience in the market, and they don't understand regarding the entry and how to trade in a direction of a potential trend, or how would you know that the market is about to turn, i.e. as a counter trend. Now, in today's session, I'm only going to really talk about the trend trading side, and we'll then go into further depth regarding the counter trend trading on another session. So you can clearly see here what I normally do in my trading with my trading strategy is if I'm looking to trade short term, so if my focus is on income generation, so rather than wealth management, I'm looking at entering trades on a shorter term position. What I would like to do is I like to be first and foremost aware of what the overall direction of the market on a bigger time frame. So here you can see the euro versus the pound on a daily time frame, and it's pretty visible that you can see that the market has decreased, or there's been a huge sell-off from, let's just say, from June highs 2011, and where we bounced and found the lows. So for example here, just going to draw some trendline levels. We've seen a strong sell-off in the market, and this has been found a low where there's a bounce that occurred, probably tested some form of a previous low. Okay, so it tested September lows, and then we saw a bounce. Now in this situation, if you're looking to hold positions short term, so during a period of a day or 24 hours, because what you need to do, you need to identify whether you're a short-term trader or a long-term trader. And mainly this boils down to the effectiveness of your strategy and the upside potential. If the upside potential of your strategy is only 10 pips, 20 pips, then you're not really going to be looking at holding a trade overnight, will you? You're going to be looking at a short-term play where you may hold it for half an hour, 1 hour. Depends on the movement. You know, it could hit your target in the space of 5 minutes. Or alternatively, you can get knocked out in the space of 5 minutes. So what you need to do first is just classify the time frame. So if you're doing a potential target of 20 pips, then you want to be looking at a smaller time frame. But first, look at the overall direction on the daily. We can see that the market sold off, then started oscillating in a tight range, as you can see here. So there was lack of direction from January period, and this is on the euro pound, by the way. There was a very tight range where the market was oscillating, so short-term trends in a range from about 0.8227 to 0.83398. Okay, and then we've seen a nice strong push to the upside. You can see here. So that was a solid move that occurred, and this was then pushed not only by generally the retail traders, but the fundamental news was very important in this situation. Because if a market is going to break generally on a breakout play, then it has to be supported by the longer term macroeconomic news, if that makes sense. So we can't only just have the technical side, price action, which is very important, but it has to be backed and supported by external news, such as the fundamental news. So we've seen some positive news over the last few weeks, a couple of weeks now, in Europe, and this has really been backed, and you've seen the current price technically. So now let's go on to a smaller time frame. Let's zoom into a 30-minute time frame. We've seen the overall direction of the dailies to the upside, and then if we zoom in here on the 30-minute time frame, you can see that this market has just continued to move up. So as a trader, the first thing that you need to have in place is to just put in your trend lines. Okay, just draw in simple trend lines from a significant low point and make sure it connects to another higher low is intact. And then you can draw micro trend lines. So from high lows in price, just looking for potential areas where price can find a support. So as you can clearly see here, that if you were trading in the direction of the trend, all you were looking to do is try and buy pullbacks. Now the strategy wouldn't only be based on just buying off the trend line, but that's the initial criteria that you need to have in place. And then what then happens, sooner or later, the market cannot go straight up. There's going to be some form of a sell-off. So if it's backed by a certain long-term trend technically, okay, let's write this down here. So long-term trend. And then, if you also can see that the fundamental news is positive, then what then happens, you're now starting to build some form of a system where you're identifying the current trend, and then you're identifying that the news is positive, there's optimism in the market. So if I'm looking to hold positions, I generally want to be only long only. Unless we have some form of the market's then overvalued, so too expensive, and then we see some form of negative, or let's see, pessimistic fundamental news, and then technically we can see a potential flush trade. Now if you don't know what the flush strategy, please go to my site or look at one of the previous sessions that I've covered about the flush strategy, which is a counter trend play. That has to be backed and supported by strong fundamental news and also a predefined technical setup. Don't worry if you don't understand. We will go over that, and if you want to cover, go back to the previous session so you can get yourself up to speed. Okay, so this is just a brief session tutorial, but what I wanted just to clarify with yourself is identify the current trend. Because if you identify the current trend initially, you're going to have more odds in your favor. Remember, with trading is not a gamble. Trading is having some strict risk management, and then identifying having as regarding the technical setup. So that's the first initial two areas that you need to look at. So happy trading, guys, and if you want to find out more, just pop along to my site, www.smartforexeducation, and I'll speak to you soon.